everybody! Welcome to another edition of
Hard and
Heavy?
Top heavy and hard bodies.
What's up, everybody?
We're back for the top 10.
Top 10
1983. Hard and heavy metal.
Hard and heavy metal
stuff.
So, we're going to start with number 10. Hopefully we kept these in order. We went back and forth for a while on what should be in this top 10. We both made a top 10 list, basically.
Hey, what's with the hat?
Flyers, man.
You're trying to be like LJ or Greeno, aren't you?
I am.
We just watched, we watched you guys' spoof videos of Scott, so I'm not just trying to be a dick. I'm just trying to be funny.
All right, number 10. Like I said, we went back and forth for a while trying to get to this list. This one was not on my top 10, but it was in the top of my list. So
yeah, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I love this album.
And I love it too, so I had no objections putting it in the top 10.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite album from them.
Oh yeah, Krokus. Their most metal release.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, they went from more of a hard rock approach. This was straight up.
Yeah, they were kind of, people would always make jokes. They were, the first albums were kind of more progressive rock.
Yeah.
Then they got into the AC/DC kind of vibe.
Very.
And then with this,
they came into their own on this one in a big way. They
Headhunter,
had Rob Halford guesting on this album,
with
backing vocals. So this is what we got playing in the background.
Yep.
Eat the Rich and Screaming in the Night got a lot of rotation on MTV.
Sure did.
Great songs.
Then you got Headhunter and Ready to Burn.
Oh yeah.
Straightforward metal. Yep.
Nightwolf's great. Stay Awake All Night is a Bachman Turner Overdrive cover.
Yep, correct. And then we got White Din and Russian Winter.
Yep, White Din's cool. It's like an instrumental kind of oddball.
I always like the photos in the back too, where they got the half skull faces.
Yeah, cool stuff.
And this is my copy. I actually have two copies of this. I happen to have the recent reissue of this on Back on Black. Yeah, I thought it was cool. I'd show it because it has a gatefold. Not that it's a very nice gatefold. It's just a gatefold.
Oh, sweet.
And it's also on the.
You got the stainless steel cross. Oh, it's on the red vinyl.
The
my favorite.
Yeah.
Red looks good for this one. It looks good in red.
Yep. But I had the original black one too, and
yep. Krokus Headhunter. You find these all the time, and it's a great album. I mean,
and the reason you find them all over the place is because they sold like gangbusters. The album
they did.
Was fantastic.
Great album.
Didn't
like this one from the moment I heard it.
Didn't quite get as big as Def Leppard or what was the other one we were looking at, or
Quiet Riot. But it was better.
It definitely put Krokus on the map in the U.S., that's for sure.
It was a better album as far as, well, I mean, you get different personalities, sure, but we were the heavy metal kids, and, we liked Def Leppard and Quiet Riot, but damn, Krokus kicked our ass.
You got that right. And I was already a fan before that, so just double checking my list here. Okay, we got this out of order, so.
Oh, we do?
Yes, we do.
Oops.
No big deal.
Okay, a little technical, practical difficulties here. We're just going to try and fix them. I think this might be a little loud. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But we are, we had 50 albums that we were trying to
juggle,
get in order, and, all that stuff. I mean, we did the other ones alphabetically backwards. That's how anal and organized we were trying to be, because there's so damn many of them.
There was. Alright, I think I got it right now.
Alright, so that was number 10. Now we got number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9. We got some accessories to.
And this was definitely in my. Here, I'll switch you.
Oh, okay.
Whoa. Alright. All for One. We spoke about him several times in the other portions of the video. This is wicked album.
Oh, killer album.
Precursor to thrash for sure. Precursor to thrash.
Legendary tour that took place during this time. Both these albums are out on Megaforce. Kill 'Em All and All for One. Very similar looking album covers. They toured together. Kill 'Em All for One tour. Legendary. Legendary tour. I remember seeing these for the first time together in the same rack, going like, what are you guys doing?
Every song in here is just like out of control.
It is. We got 12-inch Break the Chain EP. B-sides are Born to Be Wild with Udo Dirk Schneider and Inquisitor. Was he also on that one?
Yes, he was.
Okay. Talk about a scream fest. Oh my god.
Born to Be Wild. It is. I'm sorry, there are some great covers. I love Riot's cover, Born to Be Wild, but
this one's unique.
There's just no other cover.
You get John Gallagher and Udo Dirk Schneider trying to out-scream each other.
Exactly.
Oh my god. It's unique. That's all I can say. We got 7-inch versions of it also.
Yes, there's that.
Break the Chain 7-inch had a different cut on it. The B-side was the Ballad of Marshall Stack,
which is just a great title for a song.
Awesome, and it's like Marshall Stack is the guitar amp, but it's a character. He's like like some kind of heavy metal cowboy cleaning up the town, something like that. And then what do we have here? We have the Born to Be Wild.
Yeah, they're both
7-inch and picture disc with what's on the back? Inquisitor?
Inquisitor, yeah.
On the back of both of those.
Yep.
And pretty cool.
The main album here, it's just I don't know. Take Control, Mind Over Matter, Sledgehammer Rock, All for One, Run Silent, Run Deep, one of the slower tracks on the album.
Solid. My favorite Raven album.
Break the Chain, which is really the only song that I think ever received any radio play for Raven.
Break the Chain. DC Seizure used to do Break the Chain when we were doing some covers.
It's a great.
People loved it. They loved it. It's a great song.
It's a great song. Take It Away, Seek and Destroy, and Athletic Rock, which is how the band always described their sound.
Yep.
And of course you got Rob Wacko Hunter on the back wearing his hockey gear.
Put some wacko into it.
And why did he start wearing this? Why did he start wearing the gear? Because he was always
hurting himself.
Always cracking his head open on the cymbals.
And what a cool! I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
I thought they were Canadian for a long time because of it. And Mark Gallagher's got the killer leather jacket on. He's got like a white. It's got like a white lapel and a black. I looked for that jacket for years. I always wanted it because it looked so neat, but I couldn't find it.
Yep. Anyhow, there you go. Number 9.
Yeah, number
Raven.
9.
Number 9.
What's number 8?
Number 8, B. Just double checking my list. Make sure I got the right one.
Is that the one?
This is the one.
Okay. Black Sabbath, Born Again. I mean,
saw these guys on this tour. Oh my. I was a huge Sabbath fan before this. Loved the Dio era stuff. I was a huge Deep Purple and Gillan fan before this.
That's too low.
And marrying the two of them together.
Oh wow!
I just loved it.
I remember because Sabbath was in kind of in limbo at this point. After Live Evil, Ronnie left. Well, Vinny was gone with Ronnie to go and do Dio. So Sabbath. Tony and Geezer. Even Geezer took off. I remember seeing an article in Hit Parade. It was just Tony and Geezer and like Black Sabbath. What's up? What's the future? Nobody knew. So I remember when I found this album, just going, wow. Not only is Bill Ward back in the fold, but Ian Gillan's with him too. And at the time, Purple and Sabbath were my two favorites.
I remember people saying it was blasphemy that the two. And they toured and they did Smoke in the Water live and he played it. I loved it. I saw him at the Spectrum with Quiet Riot opening and it was fantastic.
Wow.
Heavy album.
Yes,
terrible production. I don't know.
The reissue, the deluxe CD, much better.
Yeah,
much better.
But it never bothered me. It's just raw and nasty and heavy. You got Disturbing the Priest, Zero the Hero. It's just such a heavy, catchy song.
Those two are probably the heaviest on the album.
Yeah, Hotline, which kind of a dark song lyrically.
Yeah.
Digital Bitch, another catchy song.
Digital was kind of a new word in the lexicon at that point. We weren't quite to that point yet of CDs, but we were like maybe a year or two out from CDs making their appearance.
And the cover caused all kinds of waves. Of course,
it's goofy as hell.
Ian Gillan hated the cover, thought it was goofy.
Tony liked it.
Tony liked it.
The story I heard is it was sent as a joke by the artist. Tony took it seriously and liked it and decided to use it.
I think I read a similar story that the artist had created it as because he was also working on Ozzy's live album at the time. And they saw it as a conflict of interest. So he did this crappy joke cover and sent it to Sabbath thinking that they would reject it and hire a different artist.
Oh, is that what he did? That makes more sense.
Instead, they loved it and this is what you
Or
get.
at least Tony did. And Tony was the final word.
Tour shirts had all this on there and I just remember Ian Gillan is still to this day embarrassed by that cover.
I mean, it is goofy, it is a bit juvenile, but there's something about it that works for me. The colors, they clash completely, but for some reason it works. I like the red and the purple and the gold, and I love the font of the title and the band name, but I don't know. It is a great album. They also, a couple of tracks on here that stand out for me because I'm really into ambient music, are Stonehenge in the Dark, which are the intros to Disturbing the Priest and Zero the Hero. On the deluxe version of this, there's an extended version of Stonehenge, and I can spin that thing all day long. I love the mood that they created with those, and it was kind of an extension of the E5 150 little intro to Mob Rules on the previous album. Great stuff.
Sad, very good. Okay, we're at number 4.
Did we ever check this one?
Yes, I did.
It is 83?
It is 83. That
this
one came out first. See, I got a list here. We had to make a list because we had so many here.
Yeah, this is number
7. Number 7.
Right, number 7, the actual one, Melissa by Mercyful Fate.
Yep.
You'd be hard pressed. This one came out previous to it. It's the Black Masses EP and Black Funeral.
Yep.
I think technically it's the Black Masses EP because that was the song that was unreleased. Black Funeral is the demo version, I believe. Black Funeral was on this one. 83, this was a highly anticipated metal album. Mercyful Fate were one of the biggest acts in the metal underground at the time. Most respected, most feared by some because they had probably the most blatantly satanic image going.
And it wasn't a joke.
It wasn't a joke. King Diamond was very much into this stuff.
Like everybody knew that Venom was kind of...
and Slayer, it was kind of put on.
Angel Witch and all those kind of bands, yeah.
King, you really, got the gist that he believed in all this stuff.
At least that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, the album, all right, let's strip away the satanic facade. It's an incredible metal album. I mean, one of the
tag team guitars.
Oh yeah,
totally inspired by
Denner and Sherman, who just had their own first EP come out today. Satan's Tomb EP just came out today. First thing they've done together as a team outside of Mercyful Fate. Very psyched to hear that.
Yeah, but that tag team, I mean, so much, taken from the Judas Priest thing,
big time.
Big time, but
big time. Great band, man, what a great band.
Yep.
And I'm glad that I can listen to them now, and I'm a big fan of these guys. I'm not so much into King Diamond's solo stuff. Mercyful Fate always had a chemistry that I really appreciated. Even the later albums, it just had a different sound.
And the cover is just
gotta love the covers.
That cover is just awesome.
Yeah.
Although I think the next cover is even better.
This was not the original cover of this either. There's another cover. A few got pressed, it never got used, and they're very highly sought after. It got used on it's a Mercyful Fate live bootleg. I think it's called, I can't remember the title of it, but it's the original cover that should have been Melissa. This one is far beyond a better cover. I mean, totally creepy. The screaming skull, screaming in the night.
All right, next up we've got
number 6.
Number 6. You just do a little out of order, so you have to pardon me while I reach over and grab them.
That's okay. I'll just do a little song and dance. Oh, we didn't talk about our shirts.
Oh, I just wore an Alice Cooper shirt.
Yeah, we're gonna start mentioning the shirts because I've got an axe to grind. No, Sweet Cicada is one of my acts. Mr. Dan Lively's brainchild. These are the Firebug shirts that he produced himself. We've got them for sale on the Bandcamp. SweetCicada.bandcamp.com. Go to the merch section. You can grab one of these limited edition Sweet Cicada Firebug shirts. And if you haven't heard them, you're going to be hearing them very soon because I'm putting out their first EP very soon on Stone Groove Records. Anyway, that's it for the commercial. We have number 6.
Number 6, yes sir.
Osbourne.
Now this is one that didn't make my list, but it made Randy's list, and he wanted it in there. And
it's a big album for me.
Not disagreeing. This is 2 different versions of it. There's and that's then you have the little EP there too.
Yeah.
But this
EP
is
for You Look. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's it.
Why is You Looking at Me Looking at You on here? I thought this is the Prince of Darkness. Oh,
yep.
Wait a minute. This is weird. Prince of Darkness. Oh, it's the name of the EP. There wasn't a song called Prince of Darkness.
Right.
You Looking at Me Looking at You. One up the B-side, which appeared later. Slow Down. And Bark at the Moon Live on that EP.
So this is the I believe the European version, which has one different track that was on the was not on that version, right?
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct.
This one has spiders on it, which
right,
did
not. This one has
it's just
Center
extra.
Eternity.
It's an extra track. Oh wait, Center of Eternity's not on it.
Right. Yeah, there was one track difference. So there you go.
Oh, okay. And this blue logo version is from. I think it's an English version.
I think it is too UK. This is the US version. Regardless, music. Okay, Randy Rhoads gone.
Yeah, this was incredibly anticipated because it's like, what's he gonna do now?
Right, and he had so many guitar players in between Randy and when this finally came out.
He had Bernie Torm toured for a few dates with him. Then they brought in Brad Gillis, who kind of finished out that tour.
Yeah,
they did the Speak of the Devil, the Nights at the Ritz. Then we hear these rumors of this guitar player named Jakey Lou Williams, and by the time he's on here, his name is Jakey Lee.
Yep.
I remember when the Bark at the Moon video came out on MTV. I saw the premiere of it with my friend Nancy Brest, and totally cool. It's a totally cool video. It was the werewolf theme. Ozzy going into his, his change and everything. And I was like, wow. I think I went out and bought it that day. It was heavy, and it's a good album.
Great guitar playing. Jakey Lee definitely had some big shoes to fill, and
he did it pretty damn well.
Did a good job. A little different. Didn't quite sound like Randy, but he wasn't trying to either, I don't think.
No, Bob Daisley was back in the fold.
Yes, and he did a lot of the songwriting on this one.
He did. And let's see, who was Tommy Aldridge was still playing drums.
Yep.
And Don Airey was listed as a full member on keyboards. Great album, great songs on here. Rock and Roll Rebel was probably one of the first ones that, like, the lyrics for it were leaked back when the songs didn't leak, but the lyrics did. And
I said Jakey Lee was actually in Rap before his, right?
Was he in Rap?
He got kicked out of Rap because he wasn't pretty enough or something crap like that.
Whatever.
Sounds about right.
Whatever. Great songs on here. Center of Eternity is probably the most epic tune.
Title track is the most well-known tune.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Tired was a single on MTV.
Yeah.
It was an Ozzy ballad, like following in the tradition of Goodbye to Romance and Tonight.
Yep. Rock and Roll Rebel's pretty well-known too.
Yeah, it's a great song. You're No Different was kind of I think it was a stab at the PMRC and also Rock and Roll Rebel. Well, maybe not PMRC at this point. I don't think they were fully running. But it was a stab at all the judgment that Ozzy was and the flack he was getting from the moral majority at the time. Great album.
All right, just gonna check my list again here, just to make sure I got the right one next.
We're on number 5.
We're on number 5.
We're at the top 5 for the top 10 of 1983, which was a pretty crucial year for metal. It really was, because by the end of this year, the game had completely changed.
Yep.
And you're going to know why in a few albums, but we still got our feet pretty firmly planted in the traditional metal.
And there's a lot to show here. This band went from obscurity in New York, trying to make it big in the UK during the new wave of British heavy metal movement, and actually became part of that movement because of being out there. We got Twisted Sister, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, their second full-length album.
There was not a Twisted Sister album that had a bigger impact on me than this one. Yeah, but more importantly, the singles that they released.
Exactly, the singles from this album, I love it. I love this album. Don't get me wrong.
It's my favorite. Here. My personal favorite.
By the way, this is the U.S. pressing, and this is a very different looking UK pressing, and the backs are very different too.
Yes. But what we have,
singles.
This came out before the album. This is the I Am I'm Me 12-inch. Yeah, I Am I'm Me was a great song, but the 3 live tracks recorded from the 2 legendary nights at the Marquee. In believe it was March of '83 or '82, I can't remember. Wow.
Yep.
These blew me away because they were my introduction to the man, Dee Snider, and his legendary.
The banter was almost as important as the music itself.
His legendary raps and his genius artistic manipulation of the common cuss word. The guy could cuss like no one, and he could do it without even offending you. He was so good at it and he still is.
Yep.
He still is. The guy, it was just, it's an art form the way that he cussed.
It's only rock and roll.
Yeah, oh yeah. Only rock and roll.
That is the seminal, the best version of ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's killer. And they did the same thing with the Kids Are Back EP that came out. They had 3 more cuts on there that were just as much fun. Now the live cuts were from the Under the Blade album.
Right. And then there was the singles.
Yeah, they had 12-inch and 7-inch singles. The 7-inch singles had different live cuts.
Right, so this had Shoot 'Em Down.
Sin After Sin on that one.
Correct.
And then with You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, the 12-inch had 3 unreleased cuts from the album, which was Feel the Power, 4 Barrel Heart of Love, and One Man Woman, which are included as bonus tracks now.
On the CD versions.
But the 7-inch had 2 more live cuts, and what they were Slade covers, Let the Good Times Roll and Feel So Fine. And this whole sleeve has got black and white pictures of rock and roll icons, the Stones, Cream, Hendrix, Alice Cooper, Janis Joplin, all the people that Twisted Sister knew and loved. Mm-hmm. And this folds out into a big You Can't Stop Rock and Roll poster as well.
And was it all people that had passed too? Is that what it?
Let's see.
Alice Cooper's now. Nope.
Brian Jones, Hendrix, Janis Joplin, they were all gone. And there's more, but that picture of Alice, that's obviously, Dee's hero and killer picture of him, by the way. But then there was the album, which was even better.
And the title track, awesome. And the video, I love the video for that song. I just couldn't stop watching it.
Is that the one where they're riding around?
They're riding around in the car, and the guy had headphones exploding.
Oh yes,
yeah. But that song is actually an old song written before Under the Blade. You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, they were playing live before they went to Europe. They were playing the clubs out there. There's many bootlegs with them playing that song.
Yeah.
Why it didn't get included on Under the Blade, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Because it is just a badass song.
It's just as well because it was the centerpiece of this album.
Yes, it was.
On the back side of the American version, you've got the kind of the split personality that Twisted Sister had. You've got the makeup version, which the Twisted Sisters.
Then
you got the denim and leather guys.
Street version,
the street version, which they turned into a different version of the band in later years called Bent Brother, and they would play pretty much exclusively all this early material when they would perform as Bent Brother in the denim and leather clad. They no longer do the makeup.
Nope, they just recently quit that.
Yeah, they do that no longer. For me, I mean, this whole album is awesome, but there's one song on here that is it was a life-changing album, a life-changing song for me. It was Ride to Live, Live to Ride.
There you go.
1983, I think it was around Christmas time. I was living in California. I was 15. I was suffering from my first broken heart from my first love, and I was not taking it well at all. And I remember Christmas morning, I was just bummed. About as bummed as I could be. Everything sucked. It was like every Christmas up to that point was killer. My 15th Christmas sucked ass completely. I think I woke up and I just crying, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's right, I cried. Ride to Live, Live to Ride came on. I was just spinning this album because I had it, and I had just gotten it recently. Ride to Live, Live to Ride came on, and I started feeling better. I don't know what it was about the song. I wasn't a motorcycle rider at the time. I am now, but there's something about that song that just completely got under my skin. My buddy Chris can attest to the fact that Twisted Sister probably saved his life. He was in such a dark period in his mid-teen years, and a lot of the positivity that Dee Snider would express.
I was just going to say that there's a lot of, as much as the PMRC was up against these guys, come on, the Power and the Glory, you could put that on a Christian album.
Yeah, they didn't really know what it was about, and that's all right because it was for the kids, and if they had been supporting it, the kids wouldn't have loved it as much as we did.
We're going to make it.
Yep, we're going to make it. I need this like a knife in the back.
Yep.
I'm me.
The kids are back. It was all just real, it was all positive.
Yeah, I've had enough. Suzette's song, You're Not Alone, written for his wife.
For his wife, yeah.
It's great. It's a solid album, man. Solid, and it's a solid top 5 for the top 10. It's number 5.
Number 5. Number 4,
getting down to the wire.
One of our personal favorites. This is one of the old school that came around and came out, and they got a new guitar player and a little bit of new life in them.
A lot of new life.
This is John Sykes joined then Lizzy.
Thunder and Lightning.
Thunder and Lightning.
Wow, probably their heaviest album of all time.
Definitely their most metal album. Hugely inspired by the new wave of British heavy metal movement that was going on.
John Sykes
came out of Tigers of Pantang and fueled the Lizzy, who were at the time, suffering from being drug-addled.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Lynot's health was not the best at this point. You were starting to see he was gaining weight. Not quite the lean, mean rock and roll machine he had been, but damn, he could still write. He could still write kick-ass songs, and his lyrics never died. Yep. The romantic poet in him were there. I mean, heaviest cut, probably Cold Sweat.
Cold Sweat, or Thunder and Lightning.
Yeah, Thunder and Lightning was pretty
damn heavy. Cold Sweat, that's a cool little double 7-inch. It comes with a couple live tracks.
Cold Sweat and Bad Habits, 2 of my favorite cuts off Thunder and Lightning.
And then Angel of Death live.
And Don't Believe a Word
live. Angel of Death's a great song.
And we got Darren Wharton being featured as a full member on this,
yep.
which he added so much to these Renegade and Thunder and Lightning.
He's actually pictured on the back of here too, right there.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but he's up by the disco ball. So Scott's got the American version, and I've got I think it's a French one. It's on, or a Spanish one.
And I like it because it has the original logo on it, which this one doesn't.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Regardless, he also had the mellower tracks, the more somber tracks. The Sun Goes Down.
Yeah, this is the one of my favorite songs. Also, The Sun Goes Down, and Someday She's Gonna Hit Back, which is kind of it's tackling the domestic violence issue in a very early arena. It wasn't something that was really talked about that much at this point.
I remember when I first bought this album, I saw Please Don't Go On. I'm like, really? Somebody else doing that song? Because AC/DC had done it.
Not the same song at all.
And Ted Nugent had done it. Not the same song. This is a Philip Lynott original.
Yep. I remember right after I met my wife, or my future wife at the time. It was 1991. This was an album I was spinning a lot, and the song "This Is the One" kept playing in my head. It was just like, I feel it, I know it, I touch it, I see it, I can feel it in my bones. This is the one. And it was almost like it was telling me that this woman was my wife. And that's just an aside. Yeah, that's just like a personal.
And then what's up the cover, which is cool.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like a reversal of the Lady of the Lake handing Excalibur to King Arthur. It's like the Phil Lynot's bass has been. It's like the sword and the stone, but it's more like the bass and the gravel being struck by lightning, and then the metal hand is reaching up for it, kind of a thing.
And guess who this is produced by?
Chris Sangrides.
This is the third album this year we've shown by him. So
he's all over the place, man.
All right, so what are we on next? And check my list just to make sure I got the right one.
Number 3. Oh man, are we coming down to some big ones?
Yeah, this one's.
This one might be my favorite of this lineup of the band. I think it is.
I think for me too. Well, let's just show it.
Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden. Boy, this was a big album this year. I mean, I was in California when this came out. I was around a lot of metalheads in the Bay Area, and this was a huge, huge album. It was one of the first Iron Maidens I bought. I might have had Number of the Beast. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. This one is the one that has Bruce Dickinson on it, the one that still to this day is the one I'll pick out if I feel like hearing some Dickinson Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that's the first one I go to as well when I want to hear some Dickinson Maiden. It's just, I was in high school when this came out. I was already a huge Maiden fan, and this thing just blew me away. The
original one with the Dino label. This is the one I had when I was a teen.
There's a couple of singles out there. There's a Trooper, which is a fantastic song.
B-side,
Cross-Eyed Mary, which is a killer cover. And you got here's the Flight of Icarus, so I've got the Fire, which was a Montrose cover.
The second version that they did, because they did one with Paul Di'Anno too.
That's right, you're right. And then
this album, the songwriting is so strong on this, so much more so I think than Number of the Beast. Wow, I'm hard pressed to find a favorite. Flight of Icarus was the first song I really dug, and it was probably the first single. It was the first Maiden I bought was the Flight of Icarus EP. That was the first Maiden I bought. And I dug it, but then from there it just got better. The Trooper was the second single. Where Eagles Dare, Revelations, killer song.
Boots On. There's just not a
Die the Boots On is one of my favorite Maiden Dickinson cuts, because the best part about that one was it was a big fuck you to the whole witch hunt that was going on in the religious right community during the 80s with metal. It sings about. I was a kid that was I had a lot of fear because of all of the nuclear crap that was going on. I remember my family watched that movie the day after, which was an attempt to educate families about the dangers of nuclear war. But what it really ended up doing was traumatizing the kids. My sister couldn't sleep by herself for a week. She slept with my parents for like a week or 2 weeks at least after seeing that movie. Me, I turned to the metal. Ronnie James Dio, Stand Up and Shout, and Die With Your Boots On were 2 songs that got me through that scary part of life. You know, I was a 15-year-old kid. I didn't know what the hell was going on. You know, we've got nuclear war on the one hand, we've got the extreme religious preachers on the other saying the end of the world is near and blah blah blah. Well, this is a song that completely was in the face of all that, and it gave us a little bit of power back. You know, when we felt completely helpless in who we were as kids.
Yep.
You know, metal was a huge part of our life, and to me, a gift from God.
Yep.
Even though people were reviling it, and the religious right were saying that it was of the devil, for me, it was of God, and I can say that now.
Killer cover too. Derek Riggs painted it. Showed Eddie without his hair for the first time.
Finally, Eddie's being treated as a villain that he was.
He had his head. His brains removed, and then the inner sleeve, which we're not going to show just for saving time. The band was eating brains.
Eating brains, yes. So. And we got scripture on the back, just like we did on Number of the Beast, which was the Revelations 13. This is another one from chapter 21, verse 4. It was a little bit altered. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more brain. The original scripture says pain. Hey, you remove the brain, you're probably going to remove the pain anyway. For the former things have passed away. Now, I don't know about you, but there weren't a whole lot of Bible references I was getting in my everyday life. There was that one, there was the one from Number of the Beast, granted kind of scary from Revelations, but we also had G.K. Chesterton, I believe. It was the O God of earth and altar, bow down and hear our cry, our earthly rulers falter, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on. But a Christian writer, and they're singing one of his quotes on the song Revelations. But yet these guys are reviled as devil worshippers. I don't get that.
Yeah.
It's like you guys aren't even listening. You're looking at the pictures and making your judgments. And it still goes on today. It's still the same.
Still goes on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Number two. We're almost there.
Number 2. What the hell was number 1? It's got to be.
Oh. Yep. Number 2.
This one could have been number 1 easily.
This one rocked my world big time.
One of the best metal albums
of all
time.
Oh, this is Dio.
Holy Diver.
Saw them on this tour
I did
at
too.
the Tower Theater. Twisted Sister opening on You Can't Stop Rock and Roll tour. I was blown away. One of my early concert experiences that I remember, where I was able to go somewhere on my own as a kid.
Yep.
Went with my buddy Tony Lee from Heathen's Rage. Wow,
Yep.
what a show!
And I had a similar experience. I saw it was Dio, Y&T, and Dawkins at the Long Beach Arena, and it was December 1983. It was either just before New Year's or just after. I can't quite remember. But me and my buddy Chris Alanak, who's my metalhead
we got some
friend,
singles too.
Oh yeah, we got singles. He was out visiting from Maine. I was living in California. Went to Seal Beach to stay with relatives. We ended up catching this killer show. We were both total Dio fans from the Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules albums.
Same here.
And Rainbow.
And Rainbow, exactly.
And this album, oh my God, Dio took it up. How could you take it up a notch from Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules? But he did.
But it's very different too.
Totally.
Bands. Jimmy Bain from Rainbow.
Jimmy Bain from Rainbow. We've got
Vinny Appice from Black Sabbath,
who also played with Sabbath.
Playing Sabbath,
and newcomer Vivian Campbell,
who was a new wave of British heavy metal style guitarist.
Played in, oh come on, don't fail me now, Sweet Savage.
That's it, Sweet Savage. Yep.
Sweet Savage. He came from, and wow, out of nowhere, out of left field, this kid is ripping it up on the guitar. And I remember Rainbow in the Dark got tons of airplay on MTV.
Yep.
And I loved it. I was like, I couldn't wait for that video to come back on. What a great album. And again, the story I just told you about Seeing the Day After, Stand Up and Shout. For lack of a better term, it was a song that ministered to me. It gave me back a sense of power over my own life.
Hope.
And hope, yeah. Not that it wasn't going to be the way that the powers that be were telling me, because fuck you, that's why. Basically, is what the attitude was.
And you can see where they get their thing. I mean, you got a priest being drowned here, but...
And it's funny because the story, I've heard Ronnie talk about the story.
I've heard him talk too, and his stories are always different.
How do you know the devil isn't the priest and the priest isn't the devil? Ronnie is always, he's always featured the idea of abuse and molestation of children from religious leaders. I don't know if he experienced it himself in the Catholic Church, but it's got something to do with that. And this whole character up here, his name's Murray. There's a whole story that Ronnie wrote about this Murray character, that he was some creature that he met, and he was part of some ancient order of people and beings.
Ronnie is definitely a storyteller, not only in real life, but on his... I mean, some of his lyrics make absolutely no sense, but there's always a story to him.
Full of imagery. The 1985 Dream Evil tour program featured the story of Murray. If you want to look it up, just type it in. Ronnie James Dio, Murray story. And you can read it.
I don't think there's a song on here that they weren't playing live at one point or another either. Holy Diver, Gypsy, Caught in the Middle, Don't Talk to Strangers, Shame on the Night, Rainbow in the Dark, of course, Straight Through the Heart.
There's not a bad song on here. Pat Boone paid tribute to Ronnie with the song Holy Diver on his In a Metal Mood album that came out in the 90s, and Ronnie guested on that as well.
Ronnie's guested on a lot of albums.
Yeah. And, we
Dio,
lost Ronnie.
the band. This is not Dio solo. This was the band.
And this was the band. And Ronnie, we lost him 5 years ago, just this past May.
Yep. To stomach cancer, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, the guy, his contributions to rock and roll and heavy metal cannot be overstated.
Nope.
The guy had been doing it forever.
I mean, not even going back before, but you got Elf and Rainbow and Black Sabbath and Dio. And
before that, we had Ronnie and the Prophets, Ronnie and the Red Caps, and it was like doo-wop. I mean, he was doing it when rock and roll was still rock and roll, you know?
Heaven and Hell, of course.
And I mean, Ronnie is up there in the Parthenon. There's just no denying that one. Love you, brother.
All right, well, this is the last one we're going to show, because this is number one.
Here's the game changer. It all changed.
This album, I heard it when it was a brand new album, and it just knocked me out, man. I couldn't believe
nothing else
I couldn't believe it.
That we knew of.
Ready? It's Kill 'Em All. Yeah, I know it's Metallica, and everybody likes to make fun of them these days, but you know what?
Once again, 1983, everything beyond it, let's just wipe it from your memory. and this is the first time you're hearing Kill 'Em All. Do you remember?
I do remember. I remember it well, and I remember hearing Fast as a Shark and being like,
then we heard this.
Then we heard. What's the first song I heard?
First song I heard was Seek and Destroy.
My first song was Whiplash. Anesthesia first and Whiplash, and I remember just being like,
what the?
How can it can't get any heavier or faster than that?
Yeah.
I mean,
of course it did, but at the time we didn't know that.
Right, but just a year before I had heard, the Accept song and thinking that was one of the fastest songs that you ever heard. And then you got this, and it was like, wow.
The whole game changed.
Little did I know at the time how influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal this actually was. This is Diamond Head on steroids almost.
And I've heard James say that they were influenced by the two heads, Diamond Head and Motorhead.
Yep.
And that was basically what Metallica was.
Yep. But stateside, I didn't really know who Diamond Head was at this point.
No.
And I heard this, and I was just like, wow.
And I got into Diamond Head shortly after this came out. I saw Megadeth in '84 in a club. Dave had a Diamond Head shirt on, and I thought, what a cool looking logo, and I've heard of that band. I'm going to go check them out.
Yeah.
I picked up Borrowed Time. I had never heard Metallica doing Am I Evil yet.
And I got into Diamond because of Metallica and the Garage Days EP.
Yeah.
Yep, but regardless, you got these pimple-faced young bucks on the back.
But look how friggin' mean they were. I saw that, and I was so intimidated by that picture, man.
I just thought they looked cool back in the day, and
they did.
They
were
had
totally dead in leather.
A brand new record label taking a huge chance on them.
Yep.
The Zazulas, who owned a record store in New Jersey that I used to visit and go to,
which was called.
I keep thinking Rock Dreams, but that's not right.
Old Bridge.
No, Old Bridge Militia was the kind of.
It was Crazed Management. Was it something Heaven? Was it
Rock and Roll Heaven? There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, Rock and Roll Heaven. That was what it was. The other record store I said was the label that Heathen's Rage label came out of that other record store. So
Old Bridge.
No, Old Bridge was the militia. That wasn't the store.
Oh.
That was just a group of metalheads that were around that area that called themselves that. Anyhow, we digress.
I mean, there's so much you could say about this album. One of my, I remember buying it and just thinking, how does he sing that way? It was the grittiest metal voice I had heard. I mean, you got Udo, but he was doing the high pitched screamy thing.
Right.
James, it was like sandpaper. And it was like, ah!
Yeah,
was
raw,
just like, wow.
Raw from the fruit. Yep,
and
exactly.
Then today you hear the death metal growls and all that
Yeah,
stuff, and this seems tame by comparison. But in '83, nobody sounded this way.
Nope, nobody.
Maybe Paul Bailoff and Exodus did, but they hadn't really hit yet.
And then I remember Anesthesia, finding out that was actually a bass solo, and I was like,
and
bass solo, take one. Yeah, they're like, what?
No, who did a bass solo?
Who did a bass solo and did it like that?
Yeah, not since Geezer on the first Sabbath album had anyone. And little did we know how much Cliff was into Sabbath, and really James too. Kill 'Em All. I met these guys. I was living in the Bay Area at the time. These guys were touring with Armored Saint.
Armored Saint. Actually,
we forgot that one.
No, I don't think it was. We didn't.
It came out the same time.
We'll check.
All right, Armored Saint EP might have come out at the same time because I met Armored Saint and Metallica the same day. Again, at the Record Exchange in Walnut Creek, California. I got signatures from all these guys, including Cliff. Little side note, Cliff signed his Brain Death with an arrow pointing to the hammer. And, kind of a spooky little occurrence. He was killed 3 years later when the bus crushed his head. And, weird. But I had that album with those signatures. I was very proud of it. And then I hit a point in my life where I was trying to be super moral, and I sold it. And it's the one thing that I regret getting rid of that I can't get back. Because I met the guys. I didn't just buy it signed. I met the guys.
Right.
And they signed it for me. And
the thing about this album is thrash became a thing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't actually called thrash here. They were calling it speed metal or power metal at the time.
By the time Ride the Lightning came out is when
then it was called thrash. Thrash was more of a term they were using for like a hardcore sound before this. Regardless, the point is, after this there was just waves of thrash metal bands coming out. Waves and waves and waves. Now there was Exodus before these guys that were out there, but they didn't have a record out. And there was Slayer running around. Of course, they had the album out the same year, but it was after this one as well.
And Slayer was a different sound.
Way different sound. There's nothing quite like this in the thrash metal realm where there's just this raw, youthful energy. That's what you capture here, and it's very roughly recorded, but it works. That's what
totally works.
Yep.
I mean, you could hear the No Life to Leather demo that came out the year previous. in which Ron McGovney and Dave Mustaine were still in the band, which is a totally different band, totally different sound. It sounds kind of weak compared to this, but still, all of that energy. Dave Mustaine's guitar riffs are all over this album.
Oh yeah.
He's still got. I'm pretty sure he's still got credit.
He does get song credits for at least 3 or 4 songs on here.
Jump in the Fire was all him.
Oh yeah.
Phantom Lord was him. Metal Militia probably, and definitely Four Horsemen, even though they changed it drastically. But this is a huge milestone in heavy metal that cannot be ignored.
Yep. We talked about that left and right turn.
Yeah.
Here's your right turn right here.
Big time.
Yep.
So right turn Clyde, because this punched me right in the face.
Yeah, I think it punched us all in the face, knocked us all out, and then we got up and started thrashing around.
It did.
So there you go. That is our number 1 1983 album. And that was a marathon of video. Don't know how many parts it was ended up being, but I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll definitely leave us a thumbs up and talk some metal with us. Do check out Randy's record label.
Please, StoneGrooveRecords.net. You can get to everything we offer there. You can get to our distro, which we have a ton of CDs in there now. You can get to our Bandcamp if digital downloads are your thing. You can get to our merch store, which we have tons of t-shirts. This is one of them. T-shirts and buttons, very highly collectible. There's some good music on this label. There's some straight up metal. There's some straight up stoner and doom. Yep. We go into experimental and ambient noise a little bit, but it's just, there's something for everybody. Please check it out.
Yes, please check it out. So that's it. Hope you appreciated this endeavor that we did.
Yeah, man. And this was a marathon.
This was a marathon.
More so than 82.
Yep.
And I'm already nervous for 84.
All right. That's it. God bless.
See you.
Strong. Yeah, I have no idea how long that is.
Can I?
Ah! Get it caught?
All right.